the impact that Islam has. The argument I'm making is fairly straightforward, and that is, going back to a hadith in Sahih Bukhari, or to be more precise, it's not a hadith, it's an incident narrated between Heraclius and Abu Sufyan. The famous story narrated in Sahih Bukhari, where Heraclius quizzes Abu Sufyan about a bunch of things, right? And Heraclius, the emperor of Rome, asks Abu Sufyan, has any Muslim ever abandoned Islam after having accepted it? Has anybody abandoned the faith of the Prophet after having accepted it? And Abu Sufyan says, no. Nobody has abandoned, despite the fact there's persecution, there's torture, nobody has left Islam. And Heraclius responds, according to Sahih Bukhari's version, Heraclius responds, this is the reality of faith, of real Iman. When it enters the depths of the heart, it never leaves it. My whole 20-30 minutes is going to be based upon that one phrase then. A sign of a real faith is, once you embrace it, it enters the depths of your heart and shapes you completely. Once you embrace a true faith, it changes you forever. This is the argument today. And that argument is manifested in many different ways. So, please understand. Sometimes I wish I had PowerPoints, but I'm not a big fan of PowerPoints. But inshallah, your minds can fill in the blanks. The primary theme is Iman impacts you. It imprints you permanently. You can never be the same after genuine Iman. And if you don't have real religion, it's a phase you go through and you just leave and you move on. If it's a fake religion, it's like a hobby you like and you don't like the other day. If it's a real Iman, it's going to change you, shape you, mold you. You will be impacted at a level that nothing else will impact you. That is a sign that it is a true faith. Now, what are some of the manifestations? So let's mention the first manifestation. The first manifestation is, wherever Islam went as a civilization, it remained as a religion. That's the first point. Historically, there is no equivalent. Wherever Islam went as a civilization, it remained as a religion. Footnote, except where there was political repression and expulsion of the Muslims. The only exception to this rule is when politics literally killed or expelled Muslims, ethnically cleansed the Muslims. Otherwise, wherever Islam as a civilization expanded, Islam as a religion remained, even if the civilization, the powers basically dissipated. What's the proof for this? Open your eyes and look at the map of the Muslim world. Look at the map of the Muslim world. Islam spread in many different ways. Islam spread as a civilizational force, as a political power base, and this is the bulk of the ummah. All of the Arabian Peninsula, and Iraq, and Iran, and North Africa, Egypt, and Tunisia, and Algeria, and Morocco. Islam spread by the physical expansion of the empire. As the empire expanded, organically the people converted. There was never forced conversion, right? Wherever Islam went as a civilization, over the course of 200, 300, 400 years, and this is well documented, well studied, there was gradual conversion. There was never a forced conversion, and the conversion was organic. Egypt is the best example. When Islam entered Egypt, Egypt was 99.9999% Copt, and 4,000 Muslims entered, right? Slowly but surely, Egypt organically became Muslim until 90% today is Muslim and 10% is still Copt. That's the reality of Islam. The same goes in Iraq and other places. There were pockets, there still are pockets of Nestorian Christians, of Zoroastrians and others. They're still there. There's still pockets of non-Muslims there. But by and large, organically, the conversion happened. Islam also entered lands via trade, without armies, without civilization. And the most prominent examples are Malaysia and Indonesia. These are the largest democracies and Muslim countries of today, and no sultan ever conquered Malaysia, or Indonesia. They're one civilization over there. No, army invaded. Yet they are predominantly Muslim by trade, and they are majority Muslim. Islam also entered places by preachers and Sufi, dervishes and people just talking about Islam, and especially in Central Africa, places like Mali, Timbuktu. Again, these were people that were just preaching and teaching Islam. Bangladesh is an example. Bangladesh, by and large, there wasn't like an army that overtook, unlike northern where Pakistan is. Okay, there was some, armies that went there, but, in the area of Bengal, by and large, it was preachers. It was people who were perceived to be awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and people converted at their hands. Wherever people converted, even if the dynasties left, the religion remained. Look around you. Where are the exceptions? Spain, Sicily, Malta. That's basically it. And in all of these places, Islam was physically kicked out, literally. In Sicily, the Muslims were put on ships and sent over. Get out of here. In Andalusia, the exact same thing happened. In Malta, it took a few waves, but the same thing happened as well. Small little pockets here and there. Otherwise, well, it's happening right now in the Xinjiang province of China. May Allah help our Muslim brothers and sisters over there. It's happening right now. And of course, Gaza is a different type of example, ethnic cleansing and genocide. But otherwise, nowhere in the world did Islam come, however it went, however it came, and then gently, gradually disappeared, nowhere. Contrast this to so many other civilizations. Go read history. Again, I'm stating to you factually, historically, no civilization competes with Islam as a religion in terms of retaining followers. That's a proof of its authenticity. You want examples that you can contrast? Look at Genghis Khan, the Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire, the Mongolian Empire, it is factually correct to state it was the largest continuous empire in all of human history. It actually eclipsed the Muslim lands at its pinnacle. It is estimated 20% of the world was ruled by, Genghis Khan and the Mongolian army at one point in time. 20% of the world, including the Muslim world. They got rid of the caliphate, if you know your history. Okay, where are the followers of the version of religion that he propagated? Where is the impact of that civilization? Where is the legacy? Where are they? Yeah, true, certain things happen. Some, the Silk Road, etc. things happen, but there's no permanent impact. Alexander the Great, who had the greatest empire pre-Islam. Again, go study your history. Alexander conquered literally North Africa all the way up until almost China. Alexander went literally half the world, or so much of the world as is known to the people of his time. And no doubt he did cause an impact. But the people that he ruled over, where's the legacy of those people when it comes to Alexander? Where's their religion? Where's their hardly anything? Contrast this to Islam. And in fact, you don't even need to think of conquering civilizations. Let's go to modernity. Let's look at Europe and Christianity, Roman Christianity. Let's look at the reality of Christianity as a failed religion in our times. No matter how you look at it, Christianity is a failed religion belief-wise, rituals-wise. And Islam is on the rise. And we, believers, say this is a sign that Islam is true. One of the signs. And again, I understand critics will find their arguments and holes and whatnot, but as I said, you're left with nothing if you keep on finding. So I'll give you some statistics. These are actual statistics that I looked up and made sure they are correct and valid. Pew Research Center did a global survey and found that on average, in many Muslim countries, such as Indonesia, Pakistan, and Nigeria. Pause here. Look at the diversity. Indonesia, Pakistan, Nigeria. On average, over 95% of those surveyed affirmed that they believe in Allah and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 95% of the Muslims surveyed basically said, of course I believe. So a dumb question to ask, right? Go contrast this, same time frame, in Western Europe. Less than 35% of Christians in the Nordic countries said they actually believed in any higher power, not just Jesus Christ, any higher power. Less than 1/3, or around 1/3, said maybe there's a higher power. And 75% or 70% basically said we don't believe in actual religion, actual God. Who invaded Norway? Nobody. Who overtook the country and kicked Christians out? Nobody. But it's fizzling. It's internally, literally decombussed. There's nothing left. It's an internal, complete decapitation of the religion. Nobody's believing in it anymore. Look at other statistics. Another survey in 2015 said that, or demonstrated that, the highest observed rituals that are done in any faith tradition are done by Muslims. As for the fast of Ramadan, it was the highest observed ritual of any faith tradition, bar none. Every country had staggering statistics of the fast of Ramadan. You can look them up, some of them in the 90%, some of the 80%. The lowest was like in the 70%. An entire nation is at least claiming, I mean, again, who's going to go and check? But the point is, they say, yeah, of course I'm fasting Ramadan, right? So the observed, in fact, I was actually surprised I hope it's true, but to me, it's like they were embarrassed to answer the truth. According to the same survey, 77% of Muslims in Indonesia and 61% in Egypt claimed that they prayed 5 times a day. At least they claim they're praying 5 times a day. I'm happy. The point is, they're embarrassed to admit they're not praying 5 times a day, right? 61%, I wish 61% were praying 5 times a day, but khair, alhamdulillah, okay? And in Nigeria, 75% said that they were regular attendees of the mosque. I can go on and on. Contrast this, the same survey, less than 7% in England of Christians said they attend church services even once a week. Contrast 90% in Nigeria, 7% in the UK. Again, statistics speak for themselves. Christianity is a dying faith amongst its own adherents. The broader religion, as you all know, the broader culture mocks Christianity left and right. Wallahi, we as Muslims feel embarrassed when the broader culture mocks Christianity. We feel embarrassed. Have some shame. Don't mock your own faith. They're the ones making fun of their God, making fun of Jesus Christ, and that's for us. A'udhu billah. Have you no shame? How can you do this? But in their minds, it's lost all respect because that is the way they're viewing faith. So one of the most powerful statistics in my mind, and I need you to comprehend and understand this. So the Muslims in the UK, the Muslims overall in the UK, and England, UK, when I say England, I always get comments online. Don't say England, say the United Kingdom, because England is one of the 4 provinces or kingdoms, because you have Wales and Ireland and Scotland and other places. So the UK, statistically, there's probably around 7-8% Muslims in the UK, right? So UK is 7 or 6% Muslim. Clear? Nominally, by name, 70-80% are Anglicans, the Church of England, nominally. It's like by birth and whatever, like if you want to have to identify. Now, so 10 times the population is nominally Christian. You get the point, right? More than 10 times. Okay, now listen to this statistic. And this is well attested, and I checked it again today. Multiple surveys have shown this. This is staggering. In the United Kingdom, more Muslims attend Jumu'ah than Christians attend Sunday services, despite the fact that the percentages are less than 10% of each other. Do you understand what I'm saying here, right? More physically, quantity, just a number, more Muslims pray Jumu'ah than Christians go to church on Sunday. And this is in a country in which Muslims are less than 7%. Yet their dedication is more than the 75%. Do you understand what I'm saying here, right? This is a sign of a true faith. And it terrifies them. It really does. That's why when they find people, in France and other places where people are praying everywhere, it's like